Lifted Drinks. Join the party, skip the hangover. Created by hemp and cannabis lovers, Lifted is an amazing, tasty, non alcoholic beverage created to improve any evening in or weekend out. Lifted is 100% hemp cannabis, 100% consistent, 100% of the time. We could ship anywhere in the U.S. Just add ice or mix it with your favorite beverage. Check them out at lifteddrinks.com. That's LYFTED drinks.com. Enter in radio to get a 20% discount at checkout. You must be 21 or over to join the party and skip the hangover. You'll never be caught needing to replenish your stash again when you subscribe to Hemper's monthly smoking boxes. Hemper's hands down the best place to stock up on your smoking supplies no matter the occasion. Curated with innovative and hand-selected products to ensure you're getting the absolute highest quality accessories for your smoking experience. Hemper's monthly smoking subscription service provides $100 plus in value for only $40. There's also the convenient options to receive every month, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. And right now, use promo code HEDGE10 to get started and receive 10% off Hemper's box or the XL box at hemper.com. Today, we're going to take a look at a report from Headset on vaping as the second most popular category behind flower in the US and third most popular category in Canada. Vape pens clearly capturing the attention of consumers in both countries. These products are far removed from the cannabis plant in its natural form. Vape pens are providing consumers with convenience and portability and the ability to enjoy a reliable and repeatable experience. These features, along with an increasing sophistication of extraction methods and hardware technologies, are driving the vape pen category to a prominent position in the US and Canadian cannabis consumer markets. So we're going to explore this new school cannabis category in Headset's report and give you, once again, the past performance of vape pens, along with a breakdown of product segment, demographics, pricing, and more, all coming up.
It's only entertainment.
Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast.
So the market share of vape pens hasn't changed a whole lot in the US and Canada. And so looking at being the second largest category behind flower, followed by pre-rolls and then edibles in Canada. Still the third largest category behind flower and pre-rolls, although flower's dominating both markets. Vape pens are gaining market share in each country. And that's demonstrating that, vape pens are convenient, and it's a matter of, not having the stigma or smell associated with it. It's not my go-to, but I always have a vape pen with me personally because of the convenience factor. So I could go to a conference, whether it's cannabis or not, no one's going to really care or know or smell it. So there's not going to be that attached associated stigma if I were to smoke flower, which is my preferred form in a cylindrical joint or blunt, hemp wrap blunt. That's my go-to, but I can't smoke a blunt and then go back into a conference. Even in Vegas, people smoke cigars, but you smoke a blunt, it's overpowering. The smell, you get in an elevator and you're gonna freak a bunch of people out. Market shares change over time in the US. Vape pens still haven't returned to their record high of 24% right before the pandemic. And then since September 2020, market share increasing steadily with a larger period of growth in the last half of 2021, now back above 20%. The growth could be driven by a variety of factors that could include the ending the pandemic lockdowns, a return to normal lifestyles. And so that's, about going out and not smoking flower because you're around people again. So it's about convenience, portability, all of those things that made it popular in the first place. So similar story with the Canadian marketplace. After dropping significantly in the market share for vape pens, kind of posting a strong comeback in the second half of 2021, growing from 15% to 17% market share, recording a 17% high in January, and then kind of continuing around that percentage there. Summer still around, so that might increase a little bit more as people kind of get out and about. We'll have to see. And then breaking that down into individual states and provincial cannabis markets. Among legacy U.S. markets, California, the largest market share, has 24%. Illinois and Arizona have a higher market share with more than a quarter of total cannabis sales going to that category. They're more conservative. They're going to have less pre-rolls, more vape pens. Makes sense. In the US, Nevada saw the largest increase in market share, growing from 15% to 21%. There's a lot of tourists there. And again, tourists, you're not allowed to smoke cannabis in the casinos People don't really want to smoke it on the strip, and there's not a lot of cafes to go to, cannabis shops or marijuana lounges. So it's probably more going to be out of convenience, I guess. And I'm guessing they're probably buying the disposable ones and not, the C3 rechargeable C-cell carts. You're seeing in Canada, Saskatchewan, the strongest growth there from 18% to 23%. Michigan is the only market that experienced a decrease, dropping from 19.6 to 19.3. That's pretty insignificant. BC, lowest market share to vape pens. They got a ton of facilities where you can go and smoke, from the New Amsterdam Cafe. I'm forgetting Mark's place, Culture Lounge. They got a few spots up in BC to go and smoke. And so nobody cares. Nobody cares in BC. Who is buying? Looking at demographics on who's buying so far. Customers are choosing vape pens relatively less as age goes up. So for example, consumers in Gen Z tend to contribute roughly double their total cannabis spend to vape pens compared to those in the baby boomer generation, because the Gen Z is out and about and smoking during the day, versus baby boomers probably go home and do a nightcap. I see a lot of Gen Z folks at work doing work they don't want to be doing, and they're just out there, ripping their vape pens. It's pretty obvious. You can tell by the style of the vape pen as well as the smoke. You can tell what's tobacco, what's not. So a lot of those folks, I think, are just trying to get through their day. Within most of the age groups, female consumers tend to have slightly higher wallet share than male counterparts. And you can see the opposite is inverse to flower. More males are buying flower, more females are buying vape pens. And then Gen Z is the exception to that. In Canada and the US, category is dominant sales of carts on all-in-one disposables are the next most popular segment at around 12%. That's an increase of about 10% from just last year. In Canada, it's even less. It's only 4.20%. Hey, that's a decrease of almost 6% though. So it's kind of trailing downwards. Sales in the all-in-one rechargeable products for the reusable batteries that are sold together, they've declined a small portion. So maybe the people who tried it, liked it, and then graduated to the individual components where you have your atomizer separate from your cart, and then it's just cheaper that way. 1 gram carts, and I won't spend more than like $40 now. Those pens have come down 50, or the carts have come down 50%. Those same carts that I like from Avitas that are like live resin or live rosin, they were $80 to begin with. I don't like the additional cutting agents or anything that some people have, and that's why Stizzy, I guess, is somewhat popular, even though I didn't particularly like it. I had a vape cart from them, wasn't great. Really expensive for half a gram. One trend that the headset has been tracking in the vape pen category has been the rise of proprietary hardware systems like Stizzy. Normally, the vape pens had a universal format, that 510 thread, but there's been a lot of people who've kind of gone off the rails on that. PAX is kind of annoying. You see the PAX pods, for example, and then Stizzy. And that's not going to get folks like me to try it. It did, because I was down in California, ran out, and I really wanted to try Stizzy. And so I tried a half a gram disposable. So I guess that's the exception if you want to try something, but why not keep it universal? Wasn't it super annoying when we all had, do you remember when cell phones had different chargers for everything? And it literally it made a congressional act, these old crusty farts in Capitol Hill that made that change. And now, like, what, we all gonna have different vape pen batteries? Like, I think that's stupid. We should all have a universal one so that we can try different stuff. I think it's I don't know. I think it's gonna kneecap the industry by having different stuff. It's not something that I would do, but Stizzy's on their own path. Looking at average price, or the average equalized price of vape pen products in the US and Canada, that price per gram of vape pen products across all segments and packaging sizes in Canada started off high, as it always does, when it hit the store shelves and then declined through the first 2 months of the year. I mentioned that they were $80 in Washington. Now they're 40 in California. Remember when they were like $80 for just a gram of concentrate, and carts were also 80 to 120 in Illinois when they first came out. But everything always comes back down after those greedy bastards realize they can't get that money anymore. But as soon as the doors first open, it's just stupid how high these prices are. And they claim that it's supply and demand, kind of the same BS they're feeding you right now with why gas prices are so high. While the trend is less dramatic in the US, prices are also decreasing, with the average EQ price for vape pens dropping 15% from $38 in April of 2021 to $32 this last year. In Canada, that same price dropped 32% as well, down to $43. So overall, we're seeing a long way over from the last 2 years from relatively recent growth from what we saw in the 2.0 rollout in Canada, and then during the pandemic, just over the last 2 years, dealing with concerns around the vapegate, that whole crisis that came out. So a lot has happened to this industry, or to this segment, and that's going to kind of take some time to iron out, I think, between conservative markets and pre-roll loving markets like Washington. The brands are going to have less glycol, or whatever the cutting agent is, to have more live rosin products out there that don't kind of scratch your throat or whatever. More branding, more trustworthy products where you don't have to worry about vitamin E acetate or all these other crazy issues with VapeGate. So the convenience factor, the pricing, all of those things are great, but it's also going to be a trust factor and branding as well. So for all of that, you're going to have to come back to the Talking Hedge.
With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.
Hi, I'm Gary, and I invite you to discover the Cannabis Podcast, a bi-weekly podcast focused on a Canadian's cannabis culture. I would be the Canadian, and my cannabis passion and culture has been building for 5 decades. I share that passion for this wonderful plant in every episode, through conversations with cannabis advocates and enthusiasts, stories about the ever-changing legal environment, and some hands-on testing of product in a segment I call Cultivar Corner. The Cannabis Podcast, a Canadian's cannabis culture, one toke at a time.